mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about Season 1, Episode 9 of Showtime's Yellowjackets, entitled Doomcoming. A lot came to light in this episode, and I'm actually coming away feeling a little conflicted because here's the problem. I'm going to go over a couple of things that came to light, and I'm going to go over how I feel about them. And you guys can kind of like hop in the comments and let me know how you felt about these things and how you feel about what I'm going to say. So the first thing we find out is apparently, and I'm still on the fence about this. I don't know if I buy it just yet, but apparently Adam was just a nobody. Like, he was just a regular guy. Like, he didn't have any kind of involvement. You know, I mentioned a few episodes back that I felt like it not necessarily was it the case that Adam, let's say if Adam was Javi, that this is that had to be one person who was doing the blackmailing and also killed Travis. Like, this was all one person. It could have been multiple people. And we find out it seems like Adam's just like a regular guy. Like, but I don't buy it because I don't buy that all of him, all the times that he popped up was just a coincidence. I don't buy that. But as of now, he's dead and he can't explain himself any further. But in this scene, we see Shauna confront him. He kind of just I won't say plays dumb because we don't know yet, but he has no idea what she's talking about as it pertains to the blackmail. She finds a book about their flight in his drawers. He says in his drawers. He says that he just researched her and that was it. She grabs a knife, he moves forward, she stabs him, he's dead, and that's it. And we then later find out, because these two things are going to tie together, how I'm going to talk about these two things. We later find out that Jeff is the one who's behind the blackmailing. It's one of the other reveals. And it's funny because I mentioned that offhand last week when it might not have been last week, but I think it might have been the episode where I was going over the Javi Adam theory. Whatever the case may be, I remember talking about it and mentioning offhand, like, what if Jeff's the person who was in there? And it turns out it was Jeff. But the explanation, it was just that, the furniture store was going underwater. He needed loot. He reached out to some loan sharks. He owed them money. And he figured that Taissa might have some loot. Nat might have some loot. And he figured he'd blackmail them to get the money to pay back the loan sharks. It's a very, very simple, straightforward kind of thing. And here's what I want to talk about is the problem with these shows that prompt theorizing, especially for someone like me who comes on here and tries to pick everything apart and try to figure out, okay, what does this mean? Who is this person? This must mean something. Like somebody who's like really like trying to find any little clue that could inform some of the storyline, as it proceeds throughout the season. And the downside of that is that whenever these things are revealed, they're either underwhelming because you already thought of it, so you're not surprised in the moment. You lose that shock moment of, oh man, it's so and so did this. Like, you lose that because all you're really left with was, I figured that out. Okay, so you have some satisfaction in the moment, but you don't have something that's going to really resonate with you. Or you end up with a situation like this where the reality is far less interesting than all the things that you theorized about. Just to find out that it was just a simple, I owe loan sharks some money kind of deal. That's super underwhelming. And that's why I'm a little bit conflicted with this episode, because there's a whole lot of cool shit in this episode. Don't get me wrong. I'm not about to sit here and diss this episode. It was a great episode. But as far as these big reveals go, to find out that it's, again, I'm still not totally sold on Adam just being just like a regular guy. I'm still not even sold on him not being Javi. Like, we could still find that out. Like, he could still have been lying about a couple of things. But, if we're going to take it at its face, Adam's just a regular guy who just lied about a little bit too much. But like the whole thing about, okay, he lied about, he only confessed to lying about the college and lying about that book. But it's like, okay, those were things that she came to him with proof, like, I know this isn't true, and I see this book right here. So he kind of had to cop to those. But everything else, he kind of made something, I have no idea what this is. And, he could be lying about that too, just because she didn't have any kind of proof. But again, on his face, Adam, regular guy, that's super underwhelming. And it's like, okay, and also if he is a regular guy, I'm supposed to literally buy that all of these times he ran into her was just a coincidence. Like, I don't know, him being at her house when she came back from the from the situation with dropping off the money or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I buy that. But again, at its face, Adam, a regular dude, pretty underwhelming. And then Jeff being the blackmailer, and it is interesting that he's read her journals. I think she said like 10 years ago, and he's known everything that happened while they were stranded all this time, and he's still with her. I think that was a really cool kind of revelation. But he used that information to blackmail them, and again, that's underwhelming. Like, it's like, man, we're coming up with all these ideas on who it could be and why, and all of this good. Like, is it somebody who's like who we haven't seen as an adult yet, who was there? And it just come to find out it was just Jeff, and he read her journals. And it's like, man, we theorized our asses off about this show, and it just ends up being something like a basic loan shark thing. Like, again, a little underwhelming, but that's what comes with, that's the downside of when you try to find something incredible, and you're just digging and looking for clues and theorizing online with all your friends or in the comments or on Reddit or whatever. You're usually left with situations where you either figured it out, or at least so you don't get as impacted, or it's the reality is less interesting. And I think that's kind of where we ended up. Like, the reality is a lot less interesting than what we thought, unless, of course, there are more reveals left for episode 10, which I think there will be. So we also find out, at least I think that we do, that Lottie is the Antler Queen from the very first scene in the first episode, which I put that out there too, after that one really heavy-handed shot of her with the antlers behind her head. I think that was maybe like 2-3 episodes back. I said, well, what if Lottie's, they're clearly trying to align Lottie with Deer. What if she's the Antler Queen? And then we see her, it looks like, presumably making that same headdress in this episode for their Doomcoming party. But again, this could kind of just be like the necklace, right? The necklace that we saw on that body, we know it belongs to Jackie, but then she gave it to Shauna. Shauna gave it back to Jackie. I don't even remember where the necklace is now. I think Jackie still has it. But the headdress could be something like that. Like, we see Lottie in it now, and we look at it like, okay, this could be revealed that Lottie is this Antler Queen, but maybe that headdress changes hands. Maybe Lottie dies at some point, and Taissa puts on the headdress, and that's who's in charge at the time we see the people food being served. So all different kinds of things that we could see, but at least at this point, I think we're meant to believe that Lottie is the Antler Queen, which we do see her kind of like leading this leading this charge against Travis, which I'll talk about that shortly. But going back to Jeff and Shauna, I really like the scene where she confronts him about it, because she asks, where do you have any idea where this glitter came from? And I think he says something like glitter, and walks over confused, and then they just exchange glances, and they have a full conversation with their eyes, which once she says, do you know where this glitter came from, it's all out there. She goes, they look back and forth at each other, and it's kind of like her saying, well, I know what I saw with this guy with this glitter, and you must have been the guy with the glitter. And it's like they kind of like go back and forth, like, okay, well, there's no point in me lying because you were there. There's no point in me like pressing you any farther because the jig's already up, because I see the glitter here. Like, and I like the fact that they kind of like had this exchange with no words, and then the next thing that's spoken is essentially Jeff just admitting to it. So I thought that was actually a really cool scene, and I like how they did that. So the other thing to talk about, well, one of the other things to talk about here is the events that take place after everyone eats the stew that inadvertently has Misty's psychedelic mushrooms in it. She plans on drugging the coach per usual. That's just what she does, and it ends up in this stew, and everybody eats it except Jackie. I think Jackie's the only one that doesn't eat it. I feel like there was somebody else who wasn't high though. Maybe Misty. Did Misty? Yeah, Misty ate it. I don't know. I feel like there was another person that wasn't high, or maybe it was because Natalie probably wasn't as high because she's so used to it all the time. I think that's what it was. I'm like, Natalie doesn't seem as high. Like, she seems in control of everything, and I think that's probably because Natalie's probably used to all sorts of different drugs. But during this time, the coach confesses to Misty that he's gay, which we don't see the ramifications of that, but I think that's very intentional to kind of like leave that hanging. I feel like there's probably going to be something to come out of that in the finale. There's a moment where Javi is left alone there in the woods, and he calls out the shot at some point, and she tells him to run. I feel like there's still something left for Javi. And I still feel like it's on the table that Adam is Javi, and we're gonna find that out once we find out who closed out Travis's bank account. But then we got to get to the whole idea of why would Javi kill his own brother. But I feel like there's something left to reveal about Javi. He just keeps being shown at these weird moments, and I don't know. It just makes me think there's something up with him, and we're gonna find out some more about him as well. Before they do the shrooms, we see Van and Taissa, they make out in front of the whole group, essentially kind of like coming out party. Like, hey, if you hadn't already figured it out, here it is for you to see. And after they're high, they do the deed by, I think it was by some water. And they take off Van's mask. We see her face is healed. She just has his scarring, I think, around here and around here. And like I said, I think it'll be cool if maybe like next week we're getting this reunion that they have for the school. And I feel like we're going to find out that there's someone who was there as a child who we have not yet seen as an adult who's going to show up to this reunion as an adult. And we'll be like, holy shit, it's like I said last week, like it'd be cool if we see Van as an adult and we immediately can identify her because of scarring. Like that'd be pretty cool. But I wonder if we do see that, is it going to be someone who the girls know is alive and we just haven't seen that person on the show? Or is it going to be a revelation to them as well that this person is still alive? I think that's left to be revealed as well. Jackie and Travis have sex on some very kind of like spiteful shit from Jackie. She's not high. Travis is. Jackie kind of presents it as a like nothing really matters. So what difference does it make? He says he's still in love with Natalie, but she convinces him to do it otherwise. And then everything goes left. The girls come back from the woods. They're all still high, and they've transitioned into something that's like very feral. It looks like Travis is about to have the best night of like anyone's life. And then it kind of transitions into something a lot darker. And they kind of see him as a stag, and they go to kind of kill. I don't say they go to kind of kill him. They go to kill him. They're chasing after him. Shauna, for some reason, grabs a knife. Like, where is this coming from, kind of? And this is another thing that I was conflicted about in this episode, because I don't know if I'm sold on them getting to that point because of shrooms. Like, that just doesn't seem... that doesn't seem like you go from, like, they were completely normal beforehand. They weren't already, like, if they were kind of like already on the cusp of eating one another, I could see maybe the shrooms pushing them to that point, maybe. But they seem perfectly normal in the episode, and they take shrooms, and now they're all like dark-eyed and chasing Travis with a knife. I don't know why Shauna is so invested in this trap. Like, I'm still unclear, and I think I should be, on Shauna and Travis, because we've seen Travis with Nat for the entirety of the show for the most part. But we remember when they called, I think it was Misty, called Shauna to tell her that Travis was dead. That seemed to really shake her. And then we have this whole situation now where like all the girls are all over him and they start chasing him. But Shauna's the one who grabs a knife. And I'm like, why does she seem so resentful? Not resentful, but why does she seem to be coming after him? And then Jackie almost seemed to have sex with him almost as if that was to spite Shauna. I'm like, why would Shauna care? Unless there's some point I missed it where we find out that Shauna has a crush on Travis. But as far as I know, Shauna was fucking Jeff. So like, why would I think that she has any issue with Travis? But I don't know how much I buy that scene. But at the end of the day, what can I say? You know, I've never been stranded in the woods with no food and no resources and no nothing, and getting to a point where it's like, okay, we might be dead soon. What do we do? And then you take shrooms. maybe you do end up going to people with knives and trying to kill them and eat them. I don't know, but that seems like I've done shrooms. I ain't trying to eat nobody after I did shrooms. So like, I don't understand. Like, I don't want to say I don't understand, but I don't know if I buy the girls drinking this shroom stew, and now all of a sudden they're willing to kill one of their classmates and eat him. Like, that's a really tough sell for me. But at the end of the day, I they're in very unique circumstances that I can't understand. So, but then again, neither can the writers of the show. So I don't really know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm very conflicted because we had some very big moments here, but like, I just don't know how I feel about Adam not being anyone particularly important. I don't know how I feel about Jeff being the blackmailer for just the basic, like, trying to repay loan sharks thing. Like, there's nothing cool or underhanded or crazy about that. It's just a standard, like, hey, I'll just owe some money kind of story. And I don't know how I feel about them trying to kill and eat Travis just because they got high. Like, I don't know if I buy that. So yeah, there's a lot from this episode that, like, while it was all super cool to watch and super fun to experience and to have all this stuff come out to light, it was a little bit disappointing. And part of that, I don't want to say disappointing, but underwhelming, because part of that is on me for theorizing so much that I've built up, like, the highest expectation for what these explanations should be, and they end up being something fairly standard, and now I'm finding it underwhelming. So that's partially on me. And that's partially on all of us, because, like, all of us have been in the comments talking and theorizing about what happens. So if it just turns out that, you know, how it turned out in this episode, then, I mean, that's on us for digging so deep and raising the bar for what we expected. But then also, I don't know how much I buy this transition into feral savage activity just because you got high on shrooms. Like I said, there's a lot of people, myself included, who have gotten high on shrooms, and it has not made you want to do anything that's out of your character. Like, okay, now all of a sudden I'm ready to kill somebody. Like, you don't get to that point. And it seemed like they all were gunning for Travis. It kind of seemed like they were all experiencing what Lottie was experiencing. And I buy it with Lottie because Lottie's off her medication. So, like, Lottie being like that, I buy it. But Shauna being like that, I don't. So I don't know. There's a lot to kind of noodle over after this episode. So Jessica kind of seemed to be manipulating Misty a little bit. I don't know if that's how you guys read it. That's how I read it. Like, you know, she's making, you know, friends with her to kind of manipulate her and to apparently doing some sort of tell-all interview. That could be interesting. And then I'm going to close with a couple of thoughts that I had. So is this the moment where the girls split into factions? Like, because I'm assuming that's going to happen at some point, right? You're going to have, because why would you have a situation like that opening scene in episode 1 where one girl is being chased down? It kind of seems like maybe they split off into, you know, their own groups, maybe like a sensible group who's still trying to do the right thing, probably led by the girls who didn't get high, like Jackie and maybe Natalie. You know, they maybe they form like kind of like the sensible side, and then Lottie kind of forms the do what you got to do to survive side. So I don't know. I wonder if this is when the girls split into factions. We'll see. Funniest part of the episode: after learning or finding out, whichever one of those phrases you choose, after finding out that his wife cheated on him and killed the guy, the biggest shocker for Jeff was finding out that the book club wasn't real. That was the funniest line of the whole season. He's like, "What? There's no book club?" like you just found out your wife killed a guy that she was cheating on you with, and he felt it was like for him that was like the final straw. Like, oh my god, you mean to tell me there's no book club? I thought that was hilarious. What was the point of the scene where Natalie breaks into the vending machine? Just let you guys sit and noodle on that, because like I guess we're supposed to take from it that Natalie is impatient, angry, or whatever. But I feel like that was so unnecessary. Like I don't know. I don't feel like I learned anything from seeing her not be able to get her M&Ms and then just breaking open the machine and get her. That seems like something Natalie would do. But yeah, I don't understand what that scene was for, or what I was supposed to take away from that. And then lastly, I'm pretty sure I saw at least one face I had never seen before among the girls when they were in the woods. I think after they had taken the shrooms, or just from Doomcoming party, once that started, from that point on, I'm pretty sure I saw someone I hadn't seen before. Did you guys see anybody new? Like, and if so, why would they introduce new extras? Like, to kind of like, because if that person ends up dead, I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna go, oh my god, they killed so and so, because I don't know who that is. And then I'm also gonna be like, so and then I'm gonna be like, where did this person come from? Because now I'm, you know, presumably, let's say next week, you know, I'm on the season finale, and y'all just killed off somebody. I don't even know who that is. So what do I care? Like, I don't know. That seemed weird. Maybe I'm tripping, but I could have swore I saw at least one girl who I had not seen before. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about if theorizing about this show and about the identity of Adam and about what was going on with Jeff. And shout out to me, I said the whole time he wasn't cheating. That was a day one thing. I was like, he ain't cheating. I said that from day one. So shout out to me on that too. But, let me know what you think about if you think theorizing kind of damaged some of the reveals that we got this weekend, or whether or not you're okay with it, how you felt about the shrooms the shrooms turning the girls into savages. Like, I don't know. But yeah, even though some of those reveals were a little bit underwhelming, I still thought this episode was really, really fun. I'm glad we got some of that stuff out there. And this next episode at this this reunion is going to be, I feel like it's going to be incredible. So I will see you guys next week for the finale. Until then, peace.